Welcome back. This is take 3. Season 2, episode 2. And we are 1 hour earlier than we were last week. It is now 10 o'clock p.m., not 11 o'clock p.m. What did it take for you to get here today?
Are we starting from this morning? Or because every time I thought I need to prep for tonight, I need to think about what we're going to talk about. I need an outline or whatever. Every time I went to go work on it, something came up. We had 2 soccer games, homecoming, pictures, nails, a boutonniere that we had forgotten to pick up.
At least you picked one up. Adana's poor date didn't even get a boutonniere because I was like, what? We have to get you a boutonniere? He had nothing, poor guy. And we had 2 soccer games as well. And then, yeah, all this, for those of you that don't know, this is hard. This is hard for 2, are we middle-aged?
I guess. I don't know.
Middle-aged mothers.
Really?
Are we young moms or are we not young anymore?
No, we're not young anymore. I have a college-age kid.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So anyway, it's hard to figure out how to do all this stuff on your own. So we've got, the computer going and the microphones going, hoping that everything's recording, hoping we have enough storage.
Which once it hasn't been. It wasn't recording for a second.
Yes. So we are blessed to be in this beautiful studio recording for all of you. We're still getting our feet wet. Is that the phrase?
Yeah. That one works.
Getting this figured out. So last week we talked about, what did we talk about? I don't even remember.
We're back. You're back.
We're back.
You're
Yes.
back and I'm here.
Yes, we introduced Carly as the new co-host.
I'm pulling at your pant leg.
She's pulling at my pant leg, trying to help me not say things that I will regret or say things that I should probably not talk about because, like she has also kind of advised, I don't want my future self to regret what I'm saying currently. And
it's not just regret. I want you, Julie, to be proud when you look back 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road at the work that you've done, because you guys, she's done a ton of work. I want you to be proud of it from so many standpoints, and I want you to have no fear showing your posterity. Mm-hmm. I want you to say this is a historical perspective, but it's also real, but it puts people in the best light, yourself, everybody else involved. I think this should be a project of love, but also one that you can look at and say, I added a lot of good in the world. I did a lot of good with this podcast. That's the hope. It's not that, yes, it's a little bit of therapy, mm-hmm. because when you're an auditory processor like we are, you heal as you share. It's kind of a secret, I think, until you figure out that you're an auditory processor. I think you leave conversations feeling like, should I feel better after that? I feel better after that,
And I need this. I need it for me. I do feel better after. I think this will help in the healing process because I have know it's so cliche, I've been silenced, but I have not been allowed to speak. Like legally, I have not been allowed to say anything. In ways though,
that I don't think anybody realizes. I have heard of gag orders before. I have heard of this situation before, but the level to which is not allowed was shocking to me. Truly shocking.
Yeah, and it's because sometimes when people are like, oh, well, I can't speak on it, women like me would be like, I don't care who is saying what. Like, I am going to tell the truth. I am going to talk about it. I don't care who's going to stop me. I will let my voice be heard. I mean, yeah, I'm like that too until you have someone.
Trust me. Julie's like that. She needs me to hold her by the pant leg.
That's right. Until someone, threatens taking your kids away from you.
That's it.
Until someone threatens for you to be paying so many fines because you spoke. I mean, they really do own you. Anyway, maybe we should get into what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. I mean, the goal today is to really understand what it means to be silenced, right? So we mentioned gag orders, and I think it's important that you explain exactly what a gag order is. Like, first of all, when did it come? How long did it last? What did it mean? Like, I have all of these questions running through my brain because you hear all of the true crime podcasts, the lawyer shows, we hear it all the time. A gag order. It means to be quiet. Mm-hmm. I will gag you, which, by the way, is not a nice term. Like, if they want it to sound pleasant, they shouldn't say gag.
I mean, they didn't actually say in court, you have a gag order.
What do they call it?
They don't call it anything. It's just kind of assumed. I mean, like you're not allowed to speak on anything. You're not allowed to talk about anything that has to do with divorce, with custody, with your financial matters. And it got to the point where I couldn't even talk about how it was challenging being a single mom, because I was accused of being I was accused of disparaging him. Like, it's so deep. I don't even know where to start.
Start with this. You have attorneys who tell you it's best to say or not say, or, you're in this process with these attorneys. At what point do your attorneys tell you, or do you hear from the judge? How do you know you're now under a gag order? You're being silenced.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think I have to start back with vlogging, right? Everybody that's listening or that knows that we've had a vlog since 2016. We have been doing this for almost 10 years, and I have shared all of the parts of motherhood, having babies, being in the delivery room, birthday parties, baptisms, milestones.
But even like bad neighbors.
Bad neighbors, even tough days. And that was kind of my side hustle. I was able to earn a little bit of money on the side while talking about my everyday journey, And so that was it was normal for me.
It was almost like a journal.
Exactly what it was. It was like my own personal scrapbook, my own family history. And so I think that I was mostly shocked when I went to my first hearing. It's working. Not working. I went to my first hearing, and this was like after we received our temporary orders. And when I got there, the commissioner had looked over whatever evidence that she received from our side and from his side. And she then started to tell me, she basically criticized me at the end because the opposing counsel had said that I was telling everyone how horrible he was and that this is so difficult and that I was talking about it. And I was like, what is he referring to? And so I'm just going to play that right now so you guys can hear exactly what it is that I heard.
On the issue with regard to social media, some of those posts cause this court concern. There should not be discussion that the children can see of a divorce or how horrible a parent is or how hard this is. Even the mention of, I can't talk about how horrible it is talking about how horrible it is. I'm not saying, Mom, take those posts down. And not mention, the court says I can't talk about how horrible he is. That's not appropriate. The kids can see this, especially the older kids. That should not occur. Father has requested that he be able to make a statement, and it appears he has not yet. If those are not taken down in the next 2 weeks, Father can make a statement. It also needs to be appropriate, and hopefully the kids won't see. These are 8 children. Older kids often have access, even if parents attempt to not have them do so. That should not be happening. We also have a concern of a request for increasing alimony and at the same time making statements that may jeopardize employment. Those two are concerning to the court as well. These types of posts that the children might see should not be posted, and any steps taken to reduce a party's ability to earn are concerning to the court and should not happen.
What is your first initial reaction to that? Did you understand it? I know it's hard to hear, so I will hopefully have the captions up.
The captions, yeah. I need to clarify what I heard, because she said you can't talk about how horrible the divorce is or something like that.
Yeah, she said, by you talking about how horrible he is, which let's just clarify, I've never once said that, is talking about how horrible he is. Like she said, by you saying you can't.
It's like how horrible the divorce is.
But she didn't say that. She said, because in what you didn't hear was that his opposing counsel was saying, she's talking about how horrible he is. And I can't sit there and say, no, I wasn't, because then you don't speak over the commissioner and over the attorneys. So opposing counsel was not being truthful. A commissioner
is basically a judge. It's like it's the kind of judge like, before the judge.
It's kind of like the bishop to the prophet. So they like weed out all of the little rinky-dink cases, right, that are trying to get to trial, and they are just kind of filtering filtering out. And then if you kind of make it past the commissioner, if your case is serious enough, like for example, to get to trial, you have to certify for trial. You have to get a stamp of approval that says they can go to trial. The commissioner has done all she can do or he can do, and they are now going to go to trial.
So do you see a commissioner no matter what when you get a divorce?
Yeah.
So even if you go to mediation and it's great and easy, you still see a commissioner?
I mean, not necessarily. That's only if there's a problem, right? Only if you have a motion. Like you can mediate, and
so
then it's a done deal.
So the first step is mediation, which you did several tries. Mm-hmm. You gave him 3 different. Can you talk about that? Or
I can. It's a whole nother podcast, I think.
But you're allowed to. You can say, I gave him 3 offers and he didn't take them.
Ouch. Yeah, and he would say the same thing. Well, I gave her 3 options. Well, he walked out of one of them. Walked out of it because his attorney said that was worse than my worst day in court was what I was offering. But the funny thing about that is that the judge awarded me more.
Oh, yeah, the final ruling, well, which isn't even final because he's taking you back in November, but what the judge said was way more than that.
I was awarded more from the judge than I was offering in the settlement that he walked out of, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but way more.
Yeah. So I was like, well, and that's the thing that we say in trial. Like we had 3 settlement offers, and in the last 2 weeks, we had 2 more settlement offers that were just ignored. So anyway, back to this.
My point is you go to mediation. Yeah. And then when mediation can't solve it, then you go to the commissioner. Mm-hmm. And the commissioner is who rubber stamps you to go to a judge. Mm-hmm. And we learned in your video that you posted earlier this week that I looked it up after I saw your video, and the estimate was between 2 and 5%. So between 95 and 98% of cases never go to trial, meaning they never see a judge. They never have to have a judge give them a ruling.
So when people are like, "Oh, I went to court and the judge said this," they're most likely talking about the commissioner, because just to get to trial to see an actual judge took 3 years, waiting in line, waiting your turn in the next queue, in the next lineup. And then when
every time it's $1,500 for this and $1,500 for that.
Trial cost me $50,000. Those 4 days of trial was $50,000, and which I don't have and didn't have, by the way. But we got our court date in February for May, and my attorneys were like, "Holy cow, that's so lucky!" And I was like, "What?" They were like, "We were expecting early fall."
Really?
Yeah. And in June, I had a friend of mine who got her court date, and that wasn't until January of 2026. So it is lengthy. But back to this commissioner saying, basically, she said, you cannot, by you saying I can't talk about this is the same as you talking about it. And you take those posts down. And if I find out that the reason that father isn't able to earn money or get jobs because of your posts.
So they're saying, basically, he is Blake Lively and you are Justin Baldoni. Mm-hmm. They are saying that you're running a smear campaign against Alex.
Yes.
Which you are cognitively smart enough to know that if you want money, he has to work. You're not, you know better than to say something that is going to, right away cause him not to work. You're not going to disparage him so that within 2 weeks the guy can't work in. That's not in your best interest.
No, but their definition of disparaging was much different than mine. I thought disparaging was talking about how horrible someone was.
Well, it's in our minds, it's a direct, Julie is that. Julie is this. Yes. I hate Julie. That would be disparaging. Yeah. But what actually happened was if you could possibly apply this statement to maybe have to do with Alex, then maybe we shouldn't use his name. He who must not be named. I don't know. Yeah. Your ex? How do we even?
It's fine. Who knows what to call?
The opposing counsel?
Yes, opposing party.
The opposing party.
Jeez.
If it had,
the OP.
There we go. I like
That's what they say is OC for opposing counsel and OP for opposing, we could say.
Petitioner. Wasn't the P for
the petitioner? The petitioner is the one that files for the divorce. The respondent is the one receiving who's getting served. So I was the respondent.
Okay.
He is a petitioner. And if you're watching and listening, I have heard and understand that it is always better to be the petitioner. I just
Why?
refused because the petitioner always has the final say. So if the petitioner files a motion or files like the divorce papers to begin with, I respond. And after we respond with our what we want as far as alimony and money and all of that, then they get to respond back to that. They always get to counter, and then we don't get to say anything back. They always get the final word.
Well, what if you hadn't liked the verdict of the judge? What if if his decision came back and you didn't like it? Like,
yeah, I can write back and say, no, we don't like this, change this. They
So you
still
could
get
respond.
to,
So-
yeah, I can respond, but they can respond to my response.
Okay.
And they always get the last
Okay.
say.
Okay.
So it's always better to be the petitioner because you have a slight advantage. But because of the covenants that I had made, and because I was a strong member of the church, and probably because of culture and all these things, I was not going to do it.
You also have 8 children that need a father.
Yeah, but even when I knew there was no saving it and he was not going to come back at all costs, I was like, I'm not filing. I'm not doing it. This is his deal. That's why I refuse to even say the words, well, during my divorce, I cannot stand that.
Well, you don't want to own it.
No, I don't, because it's not mine. And when people say, well, is your divorce over? I know it's totally natural, and I don't mean it. How do I say that? It's not, they're not trying to be rude or disrespectful, but like, I want to say, excuse me, no, it's not mine. It was his. And in fact, I got in trouble for that too. If you would look on this, I'll play it for you. This is when I did my very first podcast with who was it? The Glow Boss podcast.
I'm almost like triggered by the word divorce. I kind of like to say he's going through his divorce. I'm going through abandonment. I didn't want this.
Yeah.
I think it's wrong. I am against it. I think it all stems from God and grit. Grit. And it has a whole double meaning for me. I broke it up as God really is there. Like we've learned, the Lord loves effort. God
Yes.
loves the effort that you
Yes.
put into something.
Yes.
And I think that as long as you're showing that grit and you are showing him you're willing to do what it takes while believing and having faith,
Yes.
then the 2 and 2, they go hand in hand.
I actually think grit is a gangster word for faith.
That was used against me as being disparaging because I said it was abandonment. So I stopped using that word. But I think the greatest example, actually, I'm putting the cart before the horse here, but I was being accused of disparaging him for saying that it was tough being a single mom. I was getting accused of poisoning, this is word for word in the documents, poisoning the community with my smear campaign for...
They use smear campaign?
Yeah,
That word.
it used the word for word. I will find it and post it on this video. She poisoned the community with her smear campaign because of mother's toxic behavior, because of mother's tendency to lie.
I love that word toxic. Who gets to
Oh,
decide what is
gosh.
toxic?
No kidding. Well, and the fact that they say that this is all disparaging, I'm like, what's disparaging?
The truth. The truth is disparaging.
Yep, the truth hurts. And they said the cul-de-sac, where he used to live, they all like give him the dirty eye and
If he can't handle the dirty eye,
I know.
he can't leave his family.
no kidding.
Come on.
So I disparaged him by going, I think this was the best example, to the Bishop's storehouse. And I'll show that clip now.
Well, this is something that I never thought that I would be doing. You guys ready to go shopping at the storehouse?
Yeah.
Say, suck up the pride. So I filled out a form beforehand of the things that I needed. Ice cream. That is a necessity, let's be honest. Okay, look how big that the storehouse is right there. Like you read about the Bishop's storehouse in the scriptures and in the Doctrine and Covenants, but like I didn't know really what it was or what it meant until you experience it yourself. So even though it's hard and makes you feel stupid, it really is a blessing. And the church has some pretty amazing ways that they help people. Heck, my pride's gone. Why should any of us care? Just trying to be grateful and not hateful.
So I went to the Bishop Storehouse, had nothing to do with Alex. I was actually quite ignorant and thought that the Bishop Storehouse only existed during the Doctrine and Covenants days.
1830s,
Yes,
1850s.
I had no
yeah.
clue that we had these little miniature pop-up like grocery stores all around the world and all around our state. That, by the way, anybody can go to the Bishop Storehouse. It's not just for members of the church. And it's just a miniature grocery store. And you walk aisle by aisle. You can get meat and fruit and BYU creamery, like ice cream and the milk. You can do your shopping there and it's free food. So I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Is there anything you have to do before you walk in?
Yeah, so there's, you just fill out your food order. You give that to your Relief Society president or your bishop, and then they submit it and you go in and you pick it up.
Okay.
So it's not as convenient as, Instacart and Costco delivery. It's not, but it's free food. And it's good food. And it says, I think the thing that I think is so sweet is on the cans and on like the bottles of dish detergent, it says lovingly distributed by the Church of Jesus Christ. And I'm always like, oh, it really is lovingly distributed to those of us that need it. And so I wanted to show other women and mothers that this was available because I did not know because I was dumb.
I mean, I knew that we had a Bishop Storehouse, today. I knew that it existed, but until I saw that video, I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what was there. I didn't know. I mean, honestly, in my head, they're like, is it the number 10 cans that are the big ones? Like the 25-year food storage of like wheat. That's what I had in my mind. Like, here, you need food. Here's this tin can.
Yeah.
And I was always like, what are they going to do with that?
Yeah.
Like,
and you go in and it's a full-on grocery store. It's not as big, and there's aisles that you walk through, and they've got senior couples that are walking through helping you, which is super annoying, but they want to serve. But some of the food is great, and other things are less great. Like they've got shampoo and conditioner in one, and that doesn't work with my girls and their hair.
Oh, yeah.
But also beggars can't be choosers. I felt like that. I felt like I can't complain about something that I'm getting for free, and I'm so thankful. But, there's not a box of crackers. There you get the toothpaste that they have is what you get. You don't get to get Colgate or Crest. It is AIM is the generic brand of toothpaste, So, but anyway, it didn't matter. I just was so like, oh my gosh, this is a resource.
Surviving.
Yeah. But my point behind all of this is that when I posted that, and it has a lot of views on that and a ton of comments of women saying I lived at the storehouse and, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. And of course there were comments that said, well, that's so sad that you have been forced to go to the storehouse because of someone else's choices. And that is crappy that you have to do that because of his choices.
Which they're not wrong.
No. And because of all these comments and because it went slightly viral on my page anyway, that was their biggest argument, was that I went to the Bishop's Storehouse and that was painting the petitioner in a bad light. I mean, and there's countless others. When I got their motions and all these the paperwork,
their evidence,
yes, their
will.
exhibits, they had these like this is from when I started Gritty Mamas. That I'll put that on the screen. They said when I said I never thought, this is when I'm talking about getting married, I never thought that it would be me. I never thought that I thought that I was in marriage for the long haul, but that's a story for another day. They highlighted that as evidence against me. I said...
Nobody gets married thinking they're going to get divorced.
I know.
That's not news to anybody.
I said, Alex obviously wasn't able to work during COVID. And so we were getting free lunches at the schools, and I would come home and whatever the kids didn't drink out of, like out of their milk carton, I would freeze it. And if they didn't eat their whole turkey sandwiches, I would take out the deli meat and freeze it. And they highlighted that and used that against me because that's making it look like he is not providing. And I'm like, well, he wasn't. He isn't.
But like, it was COVID.
Yeah. So I wasn't even referring to the current things I had. So I had so many things, and I just like everything I did. I was like, can I say this? Can I say that this has been rough? If I showed a tear, they said the respondent is continuing to show emotion. The respondent is continuing to show the children how upset she is about this, and that is painting our client in a bad light. And that is, and then you heard it from the commissioner. She would say, this is inappropriate and the children shouldn't even know and they should have no idea what's going on. And I'm like, are we up in the night? It's 2025. Well, if my kids don't have social media, they see it on their friends' phone.
Here's the thing. This is what I struggle with, okay? Kids live this in real time. They live this in real time. They see. Are you really thinking that your kids are not going to see you crying ever in your house? That they're never going to see you struggling? That they're never going to watch you pay bills and cry as your credit card is rejected? Do you think that you're never going to have a conversation? I'm sorry, you can't do that. I have no money. Mm-hmm. Like, how are you supposed to deal with any of this? And the really hard thing for me is everything that you would show me as it was happening and since, it's like they expected you to show zero emotion. That's what was...
You can't be human.
That's what was hard for me. It's... If you were told, don't disparage him directly, great. I think that's great. I would expect him to do the same. Because really, divorce is a he said, she said. We always know that. And there's... Unless
you have evidence and facts.
Yes. But even so, like... Okay, I'm going to tell that story really fast that I told you earlier, just because I think it displays this point. I have a friend that worked... he's an attorney, and he worked for a big company in the area. And he said that when some of the higher up people in the company would get divorced, it came to his desk. Like, he would see what was happening because as one of the attorneys, he had to see like what was happening with the stocks. You know, when you get divorced and your share of the company has to be split between you and your ex or whatever, right? He had to see this. So he and the other attorneys would sit around and be like, what's happening with this is crazy. You know, whatever people were the actions going on within the office or what they would talk about, it just seems like this is not normal. This is crazy. Well, one of these attorneys one day, he's looking at his computer, starts yelling at his computer. And my friend is like, what is your deal? Turns out he was going through a divorce himself at the time. And he was mad because his wife would not give him his TV. And my friend looked at him and was like, dude, you're an attorney. You can afford to buy your own dang TV. But his point when he told me that story was that this attorney had been watching other people get divorced and had been commenting on how it makes people crazy. And he himself, going through his own divorce, couldn't help but get crazy. Yeah. And so I think that we all need to give each other leeway and understand in divorces, it does not bring out the best of us. And people are going to have two differing sides. And like, so the idea, the basis of a gag order, I think we can all understand. But it's not saying, do not come out and specifically say something negative about your ex. What it was saying to you, whether it was directly or indirect or the threats that were going on or however it came to you, it was basically like, if you show the world outside your bedroom, so your children, like your neighbors, the internet, anywhere, if you show them emotion and you don't act like it's a party, we will take you to court over it. And we will say that you are turning the kids against us. Like, that was the hard thing to me, is it was like you had to put on this show like Divorce Barbie, right?
Yeah. Oh, and they say if you do anything that threatens the love and affection, those were always the two words, the love and affection for the other parent. Never mind how the kids feel about the other parent. They don't care.
Yeah, without you saying a word. You don't have to say a word. When the other parent isn't there, that speaks way louder than any words that you say.
And the kids don't have a say in the matter. They go, and if they don't go, the mom or the dad, whoever the protective parent is found in contempt of court. I remember when Adana was in an appointment with the guardian ad litem, and if you don't know what that is, a guardian ad litem is basically an attorney for the kids. So I was so excited to get a gal.
Do you pay for it, or the government?
You're supposed to split. No, you split it. Yeah.
Okay. You guys pay for it.
Yeah. Which it was ordered to me. Like, you were getting a guardian ad litem.
That's why I wondered if the government did it.
No, it's
you have to have one, but you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had to have one. Like, I couldn't say, no, I don't want. I mean, you can, but the attorney who I had at the time was not great. And she just said, okay, we're going to get you a guardian ad litem. And I was like, oh, okay. Not knowing that it's another attorney with another retainer. And, anyway, I should have said no all along, but I didn't know that lots of guardian ad litems don't have the best interests of kids. Lots of them are corrupt, and lots of them are in it for the money only. And this specific guardian that we had, I was so excited about, because I thought that he would speak for my kids. I thought that he would tell the judge what they wanted.
What made you think that?
Because I heard that's what my attorney told me. Oh, he loves kids and he will protect them. But I also didn't know about the Association of Family of Conciliation of Courts at the time. And that's a whole different thing, because it's just this network, remember, of conspiring people that are in it for the money, that it's cash for kids. Give me those kids as a referral and I'll give you more clients and I'll get more. It's just this money flow. When they don't get clients, it stops their money flow. So as long as everybody keeps, it's like when my brother was a medical sales rep. And so when he would go into a physical therapy office to have them buy his device, like a stimulator or a knee brace or whatever it was, he would bring lunch for the whole office. So of course we're going to be like, oh, let's use that device because he brings us lunch. It's just like who's favoring who, and who. It's just referrals. It's all about money. I can't even explain it the right way, but
in these industries, like, kids find themselves in these hard spots and they need to have an advocate, right?
Yeah.
But to create this career where all you do is advocate for kids, that also means that if there are no kids to advocate for, you have no career. So it's like this catch-22 where you want kids to be represented. Mm-hmm. You want to feel like they're getting a fair shake, but at the same time, you don't want somebody's entire career, their livelihood, to be dependent on the misery of children.
Right. And I mean, I remember when Adana came out of that meeting, she was like, what the heck? Because she said that, when she was talking or getting emotional or talking about how I have been emotional and I hide in the closet, I try to, but every mom knows that you're always discovered.
Well, that's not weird at all that your mom hides in the closet. I'd rather my kids see me tearfully cutting up their dinner than hiding in a closet.
Yeah, heaven forbid I show emotions. So he had said to her, well, because your mom gets emotional and cries, then that makes the children defensive of mother. And then that makes the children upset with father. And then they don't want to go with father. And that's because the mother is painting him in a bad light by crying. Instead of saying, oh, have a great time and whatever, when your kids are being taken from you for a holiday or for whatever, and this is right in the beginning. Like I'm grieving and mourning the fact that suddenly my kids are going with him on their birthday when we've had these traditions for so long, and I cry. They see me. They get, what's the word I'm looking for? Protective of their mom and upset with their dad. And then the mom is held in contempt for interfering with the love and affection of the other parent.
Well, it's so hard because kids, they're not stupid, right? How are you supposed to, here you are a child and you're used to your dad traveling. A lot of kids are used to their dad traveling. That's not abnormal, or both parents, or one or the other, right? They're used to that. But when dad travels and then dad stops coming back, or he promises things and doesn't deliver, they notice. Mm-hmm. And then are you expected to lie? Are you expected to say,
well, that's what I'm like, what can I say if they say, Mom, how much money does dad pay you? Do I just stare at them? Or do I say, and these are the thoughts in my head. I'm like, do I just stare at them? Do I shake? Do I go, no? Or do I go, yes? Or do I say, I can't talk about that? But if I say I can't talk about that, that's exactly what the commissioner told me I couldn't say. So we're all just like,
it's that famous I wish I could remember where it comes from. It's like it's from one of the wars. It's that I cannot confirm nor deny, right? That's what you have to say for everything.
Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny
Because
anything.
if your kids are pulled into the courtroom and they are in the chambers of the judge and the judge says, well, how do you know that? If they say, well, because my mom told me that, I said, the guardian ad litem in one of our hearings said, now these children know way too much about this case. They know that mom has no money. They know that she is financially in despair. And this is, she's alienating and she's gatekeeping. And I was like, I have never once said, oh, he's $30,000 behind Xander. And so I'm not able to, I've never done that. But when he says, Mom, did he pay you? Or Mom, how much is he supposed to pay you? They're asking me these questions. How much is he supposed to pay you, Mom? Well, like when's did he do it? Because I want to go here. Do you have any money? Has he paid you yet? So when I say, I'm sorry, I don't have that. I'm sorry, Xander, I can't even answer your question. Then he goes in thinking he's having this heart-to-heart with the guardian ad litem, and then the guardian comes after me when Xander says, my mom has no money because he doesn't pay her. Then the guardian takes that to the judge and says, mother is disparaging father and telling the children, putting them in the middle of the conflict by letting them know that there is no money, which shows that she's trying to alienate the children from father.
So basically, you have to become a professional liar to make the situation better. That's what it feels like.
That's exactly what I felt like.
I'm very confused as to what you're supposed to do.
So that is what brings me back to what you said last week. I think it was last week when my vlogs became shallow and everything that I said felt inauthentic and not genuine because I was shoveling everything inside and burying it because I could not say anything because everything was used against me. And if I'm disparaging him, it is the reason that he is not getting any work because people are so upset by what I have painted him as, and I have defamed him and poisoned the community with my smear campaign. And because I have lied about who he is as a person, it has affected his public image. He wasn't able to get work and therefore should not have to pay me the amount of money that we are requesting for alimony and for child support and all of those things. So when it was, when I had enough evidence to show that, like, look, you've made more money in the last 3 years than you have the entire 18 years you've been married. When that evidence was in place and had been submitted to the court, then they completely changed their tactic. We all know that in court, you have to it's a game. They all say it's just a game. It's a very expensive game. So I decided to play his game. Fire with fire. So since they had gone through all of my vlogs on YouTube and on Instagram and had submitted all of these things of evidence of things that I have said that have been what they call disparaging and defaming and slandering, I went and did the same thing. And what they didn't know is that I have a lot of supporters who would send me direct messages and show me things that he has said over the pulpit at firesides when he is going through a tough time. And I was like, oh, tough time. You can't say that.
This is very public.
Yeah.
And it's under the guise of a religious setting a lot of the time.
And we're both under this judicial microscope. And I was like, okay, you don't get to say that life is hard. If I can't say life is hard, you can't say it either. So I would grab that as evidence. And then he would say, I've been going through a lot. And I was like, nope, you don't get to say that. So I would take that and submit that as evidence. If I can't go to the Bishop's Storehouse, you can't say, I'm really having a lot in my life. I'd be like, no. everything that he's saying that was disparaging on my behalf, he was disparaging me in the same way. So I just grabbed all the same evidence and threw that back. And it was like a full-time job getting all of this, submitted and documented.
You were like a PI.
Yeah, exactly. And then people would help and send things. They're like, well, this isn't fair. If you can't say these things, but he can. So we decided in our judicial settlement conference, which is like a glorified way of saying mediation with a judge, that it was his attorney that said, let's just lift it. Let's just lift.
His attorney said it.
His attorney said it.
It wasn't his idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe it was, but his attorney said, well, why don't we just stipulate to letting them say whatever they want? And I was like, done. And I would much rather be able to say whatever I want instead of living in fear for what I might say for the next 20 years of my life.
Well, and there's something, we talk about all the time how it's healing to share your story, but I think that I would rather, it's healing for me to feel like I can try and clarify. Mm-hmm. I hate when I feel like other people might think something about me and there's nothing I can say or do to change their mind. There's nothing, if there's a gag order, you literally can't tell everybody what's happening. Now, he can come out with his own podcast and he can tell the story his way, but at least you have a way to speak back. Right. At least you have a way to put out another idea or another side of the story. I would rather that. I would rather be able to say. Otherwise, you just have to let people have their own ideas.
Yeah, that's why. How many times have I said to my lawyers, like, "What the heck happened to my First Amendment? Is that the First Amendment?
Yes.
My First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. Like, what the heck? Like, this is part of the Constitution. I can't even say things that I'm feeling.
Not with a gag order.
No." And not in our court system. And so when that was lifted, we agreed to not letting it go into effect until after trial. But the judge who was in our judicial settlement conference said, this makes me have horrible feelings inside and I feel sick writing it. But if that's what the two parties agree on, then okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it is uncommon.
Uncommon. Every divorce decree says, and that neither party will disparage the other, especially in front of the children and blah, blah, blah.
Especially more high profile business. Yep.
But ours says there is no non-disparagement clause and neither party can assume that the other is disparaging. Because we both agreed that will be lifted because he wants to say what he wants to be able to say. He wants to get up on the firesides and say, look, the last 3 years of my life have been hell. And the last 3 years of my life have been chaotic and expensive. And I'm sure he wants to be able to talk about that. And I don't blame him because I do too.
Yeah, well, and he gets away with saying untrue things about you in public currently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's what you stipulated to.
Yep. And I would do it again. I would rather be able to say what I want to say because I'm not sitting here. What I think is disparaging is talking about how horrible he is. I am just talking about my story and what happened to me. And if it means that I went to the Bishop's storehouse and if it means that I had to go to get food stamps and be on WIC and be on Utah Heat and get sub for Santas and get all of these things and church assistance and state assistance and government assistance. If it means that I can talk about that and give these resources to other women in order to help them, if it means that I can do that without being accused of disparaging him, then I am 100% on board with this stipulation.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want any other way, but I know so many women don't have that opportunity. Mm-hmm. So many women just have to sit there.
They do. And some women don't have the gag order, but don't speak for other reasons.
And I think that's the next episode. I think we talk about what other reasons are there that you don't hear everybody's stories? What are the other reasons that a lot of these stories hide in the shadows and never get told?
And that is what you get to look forward to next week. So thank you for joining us on our podcast this week. It's getting late. We will see you next time. She got a mind that is full of ambition, and she may not be the best musician, but she dropping lyrics full of ammunition. So now you know what it means to be gritty. It can be dirty, but you're still so pretty. Now make a pledge and never take no pity. Baby, welcome to the gritty committee. She's a gritty girl, and she got gritty plans. So get out the way, so she can wash her hands of the blame and the shame and the claiming that she would never be enough. The gritty mama got this stuff.